Hi everybody, welcome back to Living Between Paychecks Kitchen, and welcome to our very first Thanksgiving special. We're going to go over our budget just to do an entire meal, so let's get into it. I'm Oz, that's Jack, Letty's dead in a chair.
Halfway.
It's Thanksgiving week, man, everybody feels that way. So we're going to get into this, we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff, we're going to try to break down each of the parts of this meal we're going to do it all for about 25 bucks, but we're going to do everything. I'm talking turkey, sides, dessert, even a pie, man. So we're going to get into that. Before we do, be sure to like, share, subscribe, ring the little bell. It should be down there. Yeah. And let's get into this thing. All right, so first off, we're going to start with our turkey. You're going to need a turkey. Depending on the size, ours was 10 bucks, so it is like 9 pounds. So it depends on the size and how you're going to cook it. You're going to want some apple juice, a couple of apples, some brown sugar, some cinnamon. Easy enough to get, right? Put those together. Definitely going to need some of these oven bags. Don't use trash bags or Walmart bags, trust me. And any other kind of seasoning you want in there. Now, thaw this out. Let it at least 24 hours beforehand. Thaw it out. Right? You can't cook a frozen turkey.
Multiple days, preferably in the refrigerator.
And then go ahead and pull this skin thing here. Be careful because you're going to get raw turkey everywhere, and that's never good. So you want to make sure everything is cleaned after everything you touch. It gets really funky. Now, carefully play gynecologist and reach in here and pull out, and it's a boy, muzzle tough. No, it's the turkey neck. All right, now throw that over there. We're going to keep that. We're going to get back to it. Check. Usually they put the giblets in there, but because our turkey was so small, they had to put it somewhere else, and we found it in the neck hole.
Yep.
So we're going to put that over there for now. And look and make sure they didn't hide anything else in there.
Never know what you'll find.
So now you take your apples, you want to slice those up, or you can dice them, or however you want to make them. I think this one was only big enough to hold like maybe one and a half of these apples. Because we're not using stuffing. Like I've heard people that put stuffing in their bird, and that's fine, but some of those juices get in there and not get cooked properly, and you get sick that way. Mm-hmm. And this is Jack's idea, and it's actually genius. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I do this when I smoke them.
You take these, you put just your cinnamon on them. Right? Just your apples, and then you're gonna stuff your turkey with those, like not the head, the back end, right? So you take it and then just chunk it in there, like hot dog in a hallway kind of stuff. Just stuff it down in that big hole, and just make it fit. Like it's not, you're not gonna hurt the turkey. Turkey already dead, right? Like you can't make it more dead.
Force it in there. You got it, I guess.
So just make it take it all. Just push it all in there. Don't worry about it. Now, this one didn't quite fit, so that one just went ATM. So we just put it up that way. And we get that done. Now, we're going to mix this up. We're going to set up a separate plate or a dish or a bowl. We're going to put about half a cup of this brown sugar. Onion powder we're going to add into it. It gets clumpy down here on the Gulf Coast.
Yep.
And then a little bit of cayenne pepper. Just a little bit, not enough. Just enough for a little bit of flavor. Pinch of salt, pinch of pepper. Completely optional. So that's something that you absolutely need. Now, when you mix this up, it's going to look like freaking kinetic sand.
Yeah, it kind of does move a little bit.
It moves. It freaks me out. I couldn't help it. It made me stop. So before you put all that stuff on, get out your trash bag. Get the actual oven bag. Don't actually use a trash bag, or I will get sued in half. Or you putting this in a Walmart bag like some kind of meth head. That is a horrible idea. So this is a big old bag. It'll fit like a giant turkey or like 3 of the ones we get. So go ahead and just stuff it all the way in there. And turn it, and then, just be sure to get all that turkey stuff. And then kind of pull it back this way. All right, then you got enough room. You can still play with the turkey, put all the stuff on the skin, whatever. Now, probably should have put the apple juice in first, but you can just take these apple slices, throw them in the bag. It helps with the flavor and the aroma and the whole thing. Just kind of have it. Now, if you have money for other vegetables, throw in some other vegetables.
Now's
you
the
feel
time.
like. But we just had apples, so we do that. Now your mixture, go ahead and put it on the skin. You can put it under the skin. If you're some anaphylactic shit like Jack does.
It works better when it's under the skin, in my opinion.
And then just play with the breast of it. Ooh, just squeeze.
Okay, stop fondling
I'm
your poultry
rubbing
now.
it in, and then you're gonna put it in under the skin. Like that makes me normal, right? Like don't fondle the breast, but here, rip the skin off and stick this sugar underneath it.
Yeah.
But just coat it on there however best you can. And then your apple juice, now we're just going to wash off whatever we just put on top of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But if you just put it around the outside like this, you're fine. You put that in there. You're going to use a third of that. don't use the whole thing. That's way too much.
I mean, you could if you
And
wanted
then
to.
you get you a twist tie, or you can just tie a knot in it right there, or you can use twist tie is the easiest way to do it. Just take it and wrap it on there. Now you're going to need to cut small holes to keep the steam out so it doesn't explode and get huge and be weird. So just get your knife, just the tip, just enough to, get you excited. It's kind of like poking a hole in a hot dog when you put it in a microwave. It keeps you from having exploded meat all over the cooking surface.
Yeah.
So that was 325. You put it in there for 3 hours. 30 minutes before, you're going to start with this, right? Start all your other stuff like 30, 45 minutes beforehand. Your green beans, go ahead and cut all these tips off. This is going to take a while, so start these early. And then once you get all the tips cut off, these little straggly ones out, just go ahead and throw that away. Now, you can leave them along like that, or you can cut them into smaller pieces. I'm lazy, so I just cut the whole mound of them into pieces. Cut my green beans into pieces. It is my last resort.
Really? Did we really just go there?
Yeah, why not? Some dad rock from 20 years ago. So, get all those things cut, and then you're going to want to boil them down for about 10, 15 minutes. Put them in a big pot of water. Don't have to salt it. I don't care what anybody says. Just put it in there. Let it boil down for a little bit. Okay? Now, once you get that done, here's all the rest of the stuff you're going to need, right? So you're going to need a decent casserole dish, and you're going to need a can of cream of mushroom or cream of jalapeno is what we used. Some of these fried onions.
Yeah, I've
Salt,
never seen
pepper,
them before.
And we threw in some chives just for a little extra oniony stuff. But you can get these all laid down. After you strain them, use your holy bowl, strain it first. Get your cream of jalapeno stuff and just put it straight in there. Now, this one really light. This wasn't less casserole. This is more of just flavored green beans. If you could use 2 of these,
It's more
that's fine.
casserole.
This is what the original recipe called for. I didn't trust it, and I should have went for a second one. Now mix like 2/3 of your fried green beans into it. Now save the rest of it for on top, and your salt and your pepper and chives, whatever kind of seasoning you want to put in it. If we had some of the jalapeno garlic powder stuff we had before, I definitely used that, but I didn't have any. Throw a little chives in there. Now go ahead and mix all that stuff up. Be careful, it's hot. It just came out of the boiling water. I learned the hard way before I just stuck my hands in there trying to mix it by hand. Just get it all stirred up. Like I said, most of the casseroles are like really thick with the cream of whatever soup that you put in there. Like they had cream of poblano too. That'd probably work a little bit too.
Cream poblano here is really good.
So we'll probably try that one next. Kind of pat it down, and then you want to put that in for 325 for 25 minutes or until it's hot. Now we're going to start on the giblet gravy. Now you got your neck. Go ahead and start that on a boil. All right, and you can get the meat off of it if you want to do that. Go ahead and cut these onions up as small as you want. If I was smart, I'd use the grater and grated all this stuff down, but it's half an onion and then just 1 stalk of celery. Cut it down as small pieces as you can. Again, could have grated that as well.
Yep, grater
And
is
then,
your friend.
Right, and then 4 cloves of garlic. Now, this is all going into the giblet gravy. Now, some people just take the neck and the giblets, throw it in some water, and just boil it, and it's this oily, greasy mess. And I don't trust it, but some people like it.
That is horrible.
Yeah.
That is not turkey gravy.
The trick with the chopping up the small stuff is just pick one little piece that makes you angry and just attack it. And it'll chop up all the stuff around it. Now here's your quote-unquote giblets. That's that big old liver, heart, kalima, and then your gizzard, which we've done some gizzards on the show, but they're really, really tough. Now we're making the gravy with them, so just cut these down as small as you can with a sharp knife. Please use a sharp knife on the gizzard because it's just all
It's very
beating.
bristly. Yeah.
Gristly, and the heart still beating.
Good.
Stab it a little bit first. Vampire turkey, and chop that up. Now liver. Oh man, this stuff is gross. I hate touching it. I hate looking at it. I hate smelling it. But for gravy stuff, it boils down and it works really well.
That's horrible.
So cut that down. So now this is an optional piece. Like you can take this meat and pull it off that turkey neck and throw it in there with that gravy. It takes a long time and it's very hot. It's very painful and generally not worth the effort. Especially if you're trying not to spill your flour.
Don't spill flour.
Now, if you take it and put it in the boiler, the meat will just come off anyway. So, if it just falls off and stuff. So, get it and just don't worry about it. Be sure to clean your counter. Put that turkey neck in the pot. Oh, that is so funky.
At least it's cooked.
Now, then you put all your organ meats in there with the neck. Just so. And then add your vegetables that you were chopping and cut on, right?
Let's pour vegetables.
Now you get your 1 can of chicken broth. Puts it in there. It's not going to make it quite as thick. You're going to add the 1/4 cup of flour, and then half a cup of water to that mix. Now, I added just a little bit of oregano to this just because I'm a fan of that in my gravies, and some pepper because Texas.
Yeah, gotta have
So
something
I
else.
put that in there. Now, you got to stir this all around. There's going to be big chunks in it. It's a pain in the neck to do, but you got to get that flour in there. If you don't mix it in with the water and stuff, it'll clump up, sit on the bottom, and you will have like a runny gravy kind of
It
stuff.
will not
It's not a
thicken.
good idea. So go ahead and add that half a cup of water. Now, usually I start this earlier when I start the gravy, put the lid on it, and just let it slow simmer the entire time the turkey's cooking, and then come back and deal with it later. Now, it's time for the stuffing. Let's get into this. This one is super simple. Like, you're just going to want some water, some butter. You're done. You're going to boil that. Bring this to a boil. Once it starts boiling, you mix the stuff in too, right? Like it's super simple. Like it says one on the package.
Super straightforward.
Right.
It's like instant mashed potatoes.
All right. Get it up to boil. Put the stuff in there. Be sure to stir it in there so the water gets all over all the stuffing. Turn off the fire. Once it's all wet, cover it, remove it from the heat, and you're done. Reheat it if it sits for too long. That's why we want to start this about 35 minutes before your turkey's done. That way it's nice and warm for everything else. Now, your pie. You're going to want your pumpkin. Easy. And sweetened condensed milk or evaporated milk. If you use evaporated milk, add sugar.
Yeah.
You're going to need 2 eggs, your pumpkin pie spice, pie crust, and some kind of pie dish, like disposable or when you get from the thrift store. So go ahead and mix everything except the pie crust into the bowl.
I would hope you wouldn't add the pie crust mixture. That would not end well.
I mean, you got 2 comes in that pack. Like, we do it for super cheap. Now, this looks absolutely horrible. And I can understand why my grandmother used to tell me that pumpkin pie took so long and she hated making it. Is because if I had to mix this by hand, I'd have forearms the size of a gorilla. And it would just be a monster. I just throw it all in there, eggs, and you got to mix it, and it takes forever to blend unless you get one of them blender things and you cheat.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of cheating. Right?
Yeah.
So I try to take my hands and do whatever and try to mix it. And you can come back in a minute now, and I'll have this done. Like, you don't have to film me while I'm twitching this stuff. And oh, see? Almost done.
Almost.
Hey, Jack, you got the camera off, right? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, I'm going to turn this on and hope it doesn't go everywhere. Oh, hey, you're right. So if you got a cheese beater like this, it's easy to do. Just make sure you keep scraping the stuff off the sides and putting it in a blender so it doesn't get missed. So it doesn't get missed. Make sure to put it back in there. Blend it until it's smooth and it's uniform across the way. Let the
Nice
small
and
kid
smooth.
lick the beaters.
I wouldn't
Make
let
sure-
my kid lick pumpkin beaters. No way.
That's good. You have a thing against pumpkin. That's all right.
Pumpkin is horrible.
So now you get your thing here. You can put a little bit of oil in it, a little bit of butter, just a little bit. Not mandatory. It's just superstition on my part. That's what I do. So these you need to leave these up for at least an hour to let them thaw because they sit in the freezer. If you don't, they're gonna stick together and come apart. The plastic is quite possibly one of the toughest things on the planet.
It's a very strong plastic.
It's hard to keep raccoons out apparently. All right, and I was trying not to dangle it this time so it wouldn't be less circle like we did the one last week. You can find that link down in the doobly-doo thing. So stretch this out now. I did have a problem right here. It's stuck. I made just a small hole.
Almost perfect.
Yeah, almost good. But got to have a flavor hole. That's all the flavor in while you're cooking. That's what that is.
Even though it's on the bottom.
Yeah. Flavor comes from the bottom.
Does it really?
That's what my
Anyway.
ex-girlfriend used to tell me. So you just put this in there, make it and pat it down, make a nice little bed for your pie filling. All right, and then just take the rest of this. Now I know it looks like a lot, but it'll fit in this 9-inch pie thing, no problem. Take it in there, and if you got one of these rubber spatula things, I can never find it. Jack has to always come find it
Up
for me.
here. Ignore my pajamas. I was,
And it's
yeah.
Thanksgiving week, nobody judges. And just use that rubber spatula to scrape all that stuff in there. Now this is going to have to sit in there at 350 for right at 25 minutes or until it solidifies because everybody's oven's different. Okay.
Yes.
So be sure to put this one. Usually put this one last while everybody else is eating. Throw it in there real quick and let it solidify. Serve it with some whipped cream if you can afford it, or not. It's fine for what it is. Now, just remember if you use the evaporated milk instead of condensed,
Add sugar.
Add sugar. Okay. So now you got your gravy. It's been sitting over here steaming. Well, I'm not a big fan of chunks in my gravy.
Yeah, same here.
So generally you can just run it through a strainer. You can run it through a sieve, cheesecloth. We have this little siftery strainer thing here.
What the hell is this thing called? I've never figured it out.
Fine wire mesh. I don't know. I always see them use it for cocaine and stuff in like the Scarface movie. So I have no idea what it's called. Or if we're supposed to have it, it's probably propaganda.
I use this for separating hot sauce, the fermented stuff from the liquid.
So you can save some of that stuff, throw it in there if you want. Now, after 3.5 hours, check it. Make sure your temperature on the inside, the magic number is
165 Fahrenheit and whatever Celsius. Good luck.
and
with
ours
that.
was 209 inside. So,
Yeah, it was a bit overdone.
it wasn't overdone. It was just safe. Now, we couldn't find rolls that didn't take 5 hours for some reason.
Yeah.
So we're going to do Texas toast because screw you, it's Texas. So we just take this, and they're all completely buttered. They all got garlic on them, whatever. So just put it on a cookie sheet, spread them out, and then put them in. And it's supposed to be for 425 for 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Now, our turkey came out after 4 hours and fell apart. Like, the meat was great, it tasted great, but it was not in one piece. Now, we don't know if it was cut beforehand.
It came apart like it was supposed to.
Like, the spine was separate, the breast meats were separate, the wings were separate, the legs were separate. It wasn't like, oh, this part's hard.
Yeah, it's like it was made to
just
fall apart.
came apart. Now, the meat was great. It was all cooked. It wasn't dry. It was perfect. It
Tastes
wasn't
apple-y.
attached. Yeah, it was. We don't know what happened, but it works. Yeah, I mean, it's cooked. It's great. You're wanting some Norman Rockwell stuff. You want pull those out. Now, your grape beans, once they've been in there for 15 to 20 minutes at 325, pull them out and put the rest of the what is that, fried onions. Now, they do sell other stuff like that, like fried jalapenos and stuff, which would be great, but they're expensive. We couldn't afford them for this recipe.
Very unfortunate.
I'm going to try those later. Make sure your stuffing is nice and fluffed. Put it in another bowl, right? Or you can just serve it out of the pot. We always just ate it out of the pot.
Yeah.
Now, here's the magic stuff. This is the jellied cranberry sauce. This is
Man, this stuff is so gross.
This is nicknamed by my family the turkey dip because apparently the turkey was dry, so they stick it in this and make it taste like.
I always
Cranberry
dip
stuff.
my turkey in barbecue sauce.
Take the lid off. That's fucking disgusting barbecue.
It's better than fucking cranberry.
So if you can't get this out, just take a knife that you don't like and stab the top,
Don't stab your hand.
and it'll just wiggle right out of there. And there you go. Now, be sure to take the top off. We call that the Frank law, Frank rule, because our buddy Greasy just got the crap out of himself if I didn't have one pull off.
Dude,
So
that is
always
not-
do that.
Okay.
Now, that's how the Hillbillies do it. Lay it down, and that's classy.
Yep.
So
That is
there you
not
have it. We
okay.
did an entire Thanksgiving meal that'll feed 8 to 12 people easily. Tastes great, and it costs $25. It took us roughly 4.5, 5 hours. Not counting the trip to the store that we had to run because we forgot the cranberry sauce.
Yep.
It's not Thanksgiving unless you forget something. Pie was great. Everything was great. The turkey literally fell off the bone, which every other meat I've ever had, that was a good thing. So I'm just going to take it as a win. It's like we cooked it to where the cadaver fell apart.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pretty good. There you have it. There's our Thanksgiving meal. It's kind of unorthodox, not completely traditional, but it's great. And it was $25 and did that entire giant meal. Actually, really good. Turkey comes apart, but it tastes great. Kind of tastes like turkey flavored apple pie, but it's good. So we're good to go. So be sure to check us out. We'll catch you next week. We're not going to have anything this Friday because of Thanksgiving, so we'll all be out of town or whatever, but you can catch us on our next upload next Tuesday. You can always see this all the time, but Tuesdays and Fridays are stuff. You can find us on YouTube and here, Instagram at Living Between, Facebook at Living Between Paychecks Kitchen there, Pinterest, and Patreon if you want to help us out. You can find us there at Living Between Paychecks Kitchen as well. We appreciate it. See you next time. Happy Thanksgiving.